Okay, hands, wrists, forearms, elbows. A lot of what we do throughout our day puts all of that into a lot of flexion, whether it's driving, whether it's on our phones, whether it's playing certain sports like golf or tennis or pickleball. And so that may lead to some pain on either side of your elbow. It may lead to weaker hands or wrists. It may lead to reduced range of motion. So with this routine, what we want to do is we want to kind of combat all of that flexion. We want to work on loosening up and stretching these flexor muscles in this part of the forearm, and then we want to work on strengthening these muscles on the backside of the extensors. It's also going to work the strength of the hands and the wrists through that extension. So with all of these movements that we're going to do, we can do everything for 30 seconds to 1 minute. Start out at 30 seconds, and then as you get better at it, you can work up to a minute. So first thing we're going to do is just some really gentle massage. So for me, I tend to get some pain in this part of my elbow right here, and so I tend to like to work on the muscle belly where it's just kind of below, just kind of distal to that part of the elbow. But you can work throughout the entire muscle belly here of this portion of your forearm, of these part of the muscles that do all the flexing. And just a nice, easy, using your thumb, just some nice, easy massage. So 30 seconds to a minute, and then on the other side. Okay. So once you've done that, then what we're going to do is we're going to go into a series of stretches. We're going to do four stretches. Now these can be done on an elevated surface. I'm going to do them on the ground here, but they can definitely be done on an elevated surface. So the first one. So we will just start with those hands as wide as you possibly can, flat on the ground, and I want you to rotate the elbow pits forward. All right. Now, from here, to actually do the stretch, the closer that I bring my hands to my knees, then the deeper that the stretch, and the further away that I have my hands from my knees, then the less intense that the stretch is going to be. So if I have my hands really close to my knees, I'm going to rotate my elbow pits away from me, and I'm going to spread my hands as much as I can, and then just a nice gentle rock back and forth. And I can do this gentle rock, or I can just hold it statically. And when I do so, I feel a nice stretch kind of here where the band of my watch would be. Okay, from there, what we're going to do is we're going to turn the hands out 90 degrees, about shoulder width apart. And again, we're going to rotate so that the elbow pits are now pointed forward. And again, hands nice and wide. And I'm going to rock nice and gentle side to side. The closer that I bring my hands together, then the bigger the stretch. And I can try it each way, yeah. So that way, definitely less of a stretch. Hands closer together, a bigger stretch. Right. From there, what we're going to do is we're going to turn the hands all the way around as much as we can. And this one, the closer that I am to my knees, then the less of a stretch. And the further away that I am, then the deeper the stretch. So if I turn those hands around as much as I can. If you can't, just go as far as you can. Get those palms all the way down to the ground. Get those elbows pointing away from you, and then you're going to rock back. This one feels phenomenal, and as you begin the stretch, you're going to feel it here down by your wristband, and then as you rock back further and further, you're going to feel that stretch just coming up towards your elbow. All right. Now, for the final one of these stretches, what we're going to do is we're going to go backs of your hands down. So that's going to be the first thing that you do. Right now, this may be all that you can do, where you can't get the back of the hand totally on the ground. So over time, what you want to do is you want to try and get the back of the hand all the way to the ground with this arm straight. So once you're able to accomplish that, then what you can do is then we can apply a little bit of pressure. Now, you're going to find that this is a very, very weak position for pretty much anybody out there. If you're, aside from like gymnasts, there's not many other folks that have really strong wrists in this position from like a support, from supporting of weight purpose or standpoint, I guess. So back of the hands on the ground, arms straight, That's step one. Then you could apply just a little bit of pressure into the ground right here. And doing that, I feel a nice deep stretch on the backside. And then from there, I can apply a little bit of pressure and I can rock side to side. But again, super minimal amount of pressure that you're applying as you rock side to side. All right. So again, all of those 30 seconds to a minute. Then we're going to go into some strengthening exercises. So you can have a seat for these. So setup position, elbows into the hips. Your upper arm is going to stay pinned to your body here. And I want everything to stay nice and still. So basically from here all the way up, just does not move. The only thing that's going to be moving is the wrists and the hands themselves. And the hands are going to stay in a locked position. So basically what we're trying to do is only have the wrist move through all of these movements. So the first is just going to be a static hold. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread my hands as big and wide as I can, and I'm going to go into this extension position, and I'm just going to hold for 30 seconds. And just really pull, pull, pull. So you're really pulling with these muscles, the extensor muscles on the backside, holding for 30 seconds. Then we're going to go and we're going to perform flexion and extension for that same period of time. Just moving back and forth. Now it's really easy to hold big hands with those fingers nice and open in an extension position when the wrist is in extension. Now as you come into flexion through the wrist, it's going to be much more difficult to maintain this hand position in extension. There's going to be a tendency for the hands to kind of ball up. So really want to focus on, as you come into flexion of the wrist, that the hands and the fingers stay in extension. 30 seconds. Then we're going to rotate in and rotate out. Rotate in and rotate out. Again, maintain that big open hand position, that extension position. Okay. Now, as you work your way through these, you don't have to go from one to the next, whatever. Do an exercise as we get to these strengthening ones. These are going to be pretty taxing, doing them for that 30 seconds to a minute period. So do one exercise, and then just kind of open and close the hands a little bit. Just kind of do some gentle circles here, and just kind of let everything relax a little bit, so that we can get the most out of each exercise. So after we've gone from this, where we're rotating in and rotating out, then we're going to do circles. And this is the one where you really got to focus on the forearm staying nice and level. So think about a book, or actually put a book or something on your forearm right here, and you don't want that thing to tip off one way or the other. Again, we're focusing on all that action here through the wrists. So we're going to do circles. We'll do one direction, and then we'll do the other. So I can start by pushing into extension, and then I rotate in, into flexion, rotate out, extension, in, flexion, out, extension, in, flexion, out. Then we're going to reverse. Flexion, in, extension, out, flexion, in, extension, out. And even just doing this demo right here, my hands are getting really tired. So as I come up into that wrist flexion position, the hands, they want to ball up. So I really got to resist that balling up of my hands and of my fingers. And again, this right here, this side's getting a little weak, a little bit tired, and I'm starting to rotate in here. I'm starting to rotate here at the elbow, and I don't want that to happen. I want to make sure that this, really focus on this staying nice and level, nice and flat as I go through those circles. Just show you the other direction again, really. There you go. So watch it through a few times. Practice everything. Just do one at a time, take a little break, and then just continue on. Remember, with all of these things, multiple times a week, for weeks on end, to give you that relief that you're looking for in whatever joint it is that you are trying to, relieve pain from, or that you're trying to strengthen from, or that you're trying to strengthen. So it's going to take time, lots and lots and lots of time, lots of reps. So get after it multiple times a week, and then weeks after weeks after weeks, and it'll give you that relief and it'll give you that strength you're looking for.